So Michael, briefly, what is NLP?
NLP is an exploration of how we think, how we communicate, and how we change.
Could you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, I think it's the kernel. It's a sort of the base ability and skills that enable us to do almost everything else. So anybody that spends their time expanding on these skills will become better at most other things that they want to do.
Okay, and why do people do NLP?
I think they do it for a number of reasons. I think that some people have sort of hit a glass ceiling, or they come across a glass ceiling and they almost want some inspiration, some new ways of doing things, some new ways of communicating that can enable them to smash through it to achieve whatever it else it wants to achieve. Some people just really enjoy it. Some people, it's about studying how people do things well, and some people are naturally interested in improving what they do and exploring how people do things well.
How did you get involved in NLP?
It was about 10 years ago. I went through a little patch where life was a bit harder than I thought it ought to be. It wasn't so much anything was wrong, but it was just I was putting an awful lot of effort in and I didn't seem to be getting anywhere. And a friend of mine suggested that I read some NLP books, and I went on an NLP course, and I was very lucky because our training manager at work offered to fund me to go on an NLP course. And I haven't really looked back since.
What are some of the elements that make up NLP?
You can describe NLP in three different things. Firstly, it's about attitude. And attitude is a bit about state and beliefs. What sort of state am I? Whether I'm happy, whether I'm enthusiastic, whether I'm curious, whether I'm pissed off, whether I'm disappointed. Because the state I'm in will allow me to access different resources. If I'm in a positive state, I will have far more abilities open to me than if I'm in a negative state. So we're looking at states and attitudes. The second thing is about modelling. It's finding out people that do things well, how do they do them? So NLP is very much about being curious about people that are successful all about us, so we can find out what they do and find out different ways of replicating it. Now, if you've got a good attitude and you keep on modelling people, you will end up with a heap of techniques. And techniques are how you can transfer what you've learned to other people.
What is the significance of NLP to things like seduction or hypnosis?
There's a great tie between NLP and hypnosis, because one of the original people that Bandler and Grinder modelled when they started NLP off was a very, very, very good hypnotist. But I think it's useful to put a definition of hypnosis, because everybody's got a slightly different idea of what it is. And I would describe hypnosis as being able to lead people into useful states, so that you actually lead people into situations where they can unlock their own creativity much, much more. The seduction thing is, I think, is quite fun. The seduction guys have, a little bit like NLP, they've been exploring what works in that context. And I think they've come up with some really interesting stuff. You might like their approach or you might not like their approach, but they've come up with some good stuff. And I think NLPers can learn from what they've done, just as they've learned an awful lot from NLPers.
Is there anything else that you'd like to add or reiterate about NLP?
I think the important thing to emphasise is that things like NLP are coming into their time. If you look back 20 years, 30 years, when we were still making stuff as far as work goes, then we needed a lot of manual dexterity. And that's still important, that's still very nice to have. But to succeed in life today, it's really the mind type of skills we need. It's creativity, it's getting into the right state, it's developing a certain tenaciousness. These are the things that make a difference. And people that study and learn about NLP will end up with a real advantage.
Michael Beale, thank you.
Thank you.